Watch our health here. We have 3, 2, 1. Oh, he invised. Good invis there. That invis just about saved his life. Going for one shot. Here it is. Just hit him for 200 Ks in a row. Good game.
And finally, guys, I bring you news that the war is over. Yes, coming within the next World of Warcraft expansion, we will have the choice on a Frosty K whether to use one-handers or two-handers again. Yes, guys, the 5+ year war on Death Knights not being able to use two-handers is over, guys. We did it. We won. We really won, guys. Do you guys get that? We won. We got our freaking two-handers back. Just let that sit in. I'm not gonna lie, guys, when I first heard this news, a little tear ran down my cheek. It was uneventful. I had a little bit of lip quivering. It was pretty ugly, honestly, and I really honestly wouldn't want anybody to see that. I mean, really, but still, it definitely happened. And honestly, guys, I'm so excited for the next expansion, just to be able to put a freaking two-hander back in my hands and lay out some big obliterate crits again. I feel like it's been so long. It's so absolutely long. And realistically, I literally just went and got my Shadowborn just so I could put it in my hands, even though I can't swing it and use it yet, but I'm sure ready to be able to swing it and use it in the next expansion. Let me tell you guys right now. Let me tell you guys right now. Really stoked, guys. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty baffled. I kind of took those last two videos and I made it it was about the last bit of energy I had to try and push for some kind of major change for Frosty K, whether it be stat-wise, whether it be overall speccing, but this is kind of over the top. I honestly... It was a shot in the dark, the fact that we would get two-hander back, and we just kept pounding it. We kept pounding it for years after years. I remember the first time I made a Frosty K two-handed support thread on the forums, and it got dislike spammed, and I was like, in the future, you guys will know. And everyone kept rallying. They kept seeing what happened. We kept seeing how bad it would be. And finally, it's brought back, guys. We have our two-handers. We are home. We will be able to play with our Shadowmorns. We will, kind of imagine that we can play with Frostmourne, even though that it's definitely a bastard sword and a two-hander, not a one-hander. I'm watching you guys. Don't even try to tell me it's not, because he swings that thing with two hands and one hand. And according to Diablo Blizzard lore, that is actually a two-hander. What you staring at, guy? What you looking at? I'm being happy right now. You looking at my two-hander. He already knows. He sees it. He sees the DK with the two-hander. He already knows. Season's changing, boys. We're about to get some massive upfront bursts back. And honestly, I'm stoked about it. I hope we can actually blow some things up. Now, there's a few things I need to talk about coming in with the future with this spec. Obviously, if they take the spec and they make it the exact same as a dual-wield Frosty K, and they just kind of make it base stats across the board, buff up a thing here, nerf a thing there, and yada yada yada, as long as there's some upfront obliterate damage to it, I am more than happy with the two-handed spec. Like, that is what I want. I want some kind of major burst. I want some kind of upfront burst. I do not like this rot version of a Frosty K. And Holy, you guys can keep your rot. You can rot all you want. You can necrotic rot. You can dot rot. You can rot. But we, as Frosty Ks, the majority of the population, want our two-handers back. Now, in terms of how many people are we talking, I actually went through every single forum on the forum discussing this two-handed Frosty K and counted the amount of people that supported it and didn't support it. And you know what kind of numbers I came up with? Literally over, it was over 86% of Frosty Ks wanted two-handers back in the next expansion, and 14% did it. And those 14% that did it were very, very vocal about it on the forums. They were very vocal about it on the forums. Now, I thought about making videos trolling these people, making fun of them, yada, 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 things like that. But I slowly started to realize that these people, such as, you all know who I'm talking about, that post more than literally anybody on those forums, I realized that if I just made a few videos and sent as many people as I possibly could over to the forums to just post their support, it is going to drive these small minority people insane. And so I told my buddies, I'm just going to light the forums on fire. And that was my pure intention with this entire thing, with trying to get Two-Handed Frost back. That was my goal. And from you guys seeing just in the earlier picture, on the class forums, that Frost DK Two-Handed forum is actually the largest class forum on the World of Warcraft website at this point. That is what kind of support we threw at Two-Handed Frost DKs. That is the amount of people that wanted it back. I went through the game and also personally asked hundreds of DKs whether they wanted Frost DK Two-Handed back. And there was less than a handful of people that said no, that they didn't want the option to use a two-hander. So today, guys, for the Frost DK community, this is a big win. This is a giant, massive win for us for the future, and the future is starting to look better. Now, obviously, there are a lot of kinks we got to kind of pound out, balancing issues, whether or not we're going to be upfront burst, whether they're going to just literally throw in Two-Handed Frost with dual wield and, make them exactly even. Who knows? But I'm hoping we do get our burst back. I'm hoping we get our upfront burst back. I'm hoping we get our breath stuff back. And I'm excited, guys. I'm excited to see what's going on in the future. And hopefully, obviously, I hope I get into the beta, the alpha, and I'm able to tinker around with stuff like that. Because obviously, I mean, I was playing Two-Handed Frost for so long, guys. Let me get in there and get the feel for this, and let me just poke at a little bit. Let me give my two-hander back. Yeah, I just want the two-hander back, guys. It would be awesome. But overall, yeah, I really want to make this video and let you guys know what was going on. I am still around. I'm still kicking. I'm still playing well. Obviously, I got a bunch of gear. I had some okay fun playing around with these Twilight Devastation and Tentacle stuff. I mean, it was kind of an interesting sideshow, but realistically, taking World of Warcraft seriously, this felt more like Diablo kind of gear. And procs with the damage, it really was uneventful because it wasn't really us doing the damage majority. I mean, I've got rank 4 Twilight Devastation, and sometimes that thing's doing so much DPS that I could have stood there and just let the ring and the boots proc, and I wouldn't have had to do anything. It was actually kind of insane, especially with blood when it's hitting for like 500k crits and stuff like that. That's just out of this world. And of course, we got Tentacle in PvP. I've got rank 4 Tentacle also, and that thing is just OP strong, just absolutely ridiculous. You can just rely on proc, stand back, stun something, and watch the Tentacle go to work if it's a double or triple proc. But obviously they nerfed that down to 12-second procs, so they did put a bit of a fix on that. But overall, I still think it just makes it too wild. And what a lot of people don't realize about the current Frost DK on the current iteration in the current patch is that it actually, all this corruption gear made Frost DKs worse. And you're probably thinking, how did it make us worse? Well, think about it, guys. We're a rock comp that plays into deep dampening. Any kind of increase on major burst pressure is going to nerf down the rot comp. It is going to make Frost DKs less viable in that current patch. And I mean, we could go with Tentacles, obviously. We could play the same game, but our burst pressure isn't going to be nearly as high as some of these other classes. Let's say that's pumping out a Tentacle while you're also taking the Destruction Warlock's Chaos Bolts from, 40 yards away. So even under that mind thought, ranged classes also got a huge advantage during this patch because you could proc these OP corrupted pieces at range. That alone makes it so much stronger on a ranged class than a melee class. It actually blew my mind that something like that would be implemented into this current patch. And I don't really want to get too far into it, but this current patch, what's been happening with this corruption stuff was really bad for PvP overall. For PvE, it was fun to play with. It was like a carnival, it was like a circus. But guys, I don't want to get too far into this discussion. I don't want to get too far into it. I kind of want to just kind of give you guys an update at the end of this video, letting you guys know exactly what I've been doing. I've been having fun. I've been playing Unholy. I've been playing Blood. I've been playing Frost. I've mainly just been, pushing dungeons with my buddies and hanging out and doing things. Jawa ended up getting rank 1 Glad the other season when we were pushing, and I was above 2k in 3s, which was really cool. He was the highest actual ret to push up to his current rating. I think it was like 2670 or something like that. But I mean, that was about it for eventful stuff in World of Warcraft. I've been playing a lot of other games also, just kind of in this downtime, trying to just buy time, I guess you could say. I mean, I guess at this point, since we're all locked in our houses, we're all just kind of trying to buy some time, I suppose. Trying to feel good, so I hope everyone out there is doing good. You're doing fine. I'm doing okay. I mean, since we're Death Knights and we can throw up anti-magic shell, we should be doing pretty good with diseases and stuff. Hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized, because, I mean, honestly, if we start getting demonetized for saying diseases, we are absolutely done for as DKs on YouTube. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this update. I had to let you guys know that Frost DK two-handers are coming back in the future. Obviously, I'll be playing the next expansion, figuring stuff out, having fun with the burst, trying to come up with most likely the most ridiculous burst pressure I possibly can. And if you're wondering why I'm a dwarf, honestly, I couldn't turn down the extra 600 plus strength, or if you have bleeds 1200 plus for just, immaculate monstrous crits. Even though it's not the most viable option, obviously I'm just like, hey, juicy crits, sign me up, because that's the way it goes. So anyways, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Congratulations to all you Frost DKs out there that have your two-handers back. Leave a like, leave a comment, guys. We've won the war. We have won the war. Until next time, guys, this was your boy Hazzed.